The serve is one of the fundamental skills of tennis and is arguably the most important. It is a crucial aspect of the game, and a good, sound service technique is a crucial feature in a successful tennis player's game. When classifying a tennis serve, the one-dimensional classification system places the skill on a continuum, with extreme opposites at either end. A tennis serve is predominantly a gross motor skill, although it does involve some aspects of fine motor skills due to its reliance on hand-eye coordination. It's a fairly discrete skill rather than a continuous skill due to its identifiable beginning and end points, and it's a closed skill as the performer initiates the movement entirely. Classifying a tennis serve in terms of Gentile's taxonomy places it in the 2B category. This is due to body stability, object manipulation in the form of a racket and ball, stationary regulatory conditions such as court size and net height, and some level of inter-trial variability due to human error present in the ball toss and things such as external environment. When measuring performance, both quantitative and qualitative data should be considered. In this program, the quantitative performance measure involves performing 10 trials with the number of legal serves and faults recorded. The qualitative performance measure involves identifying the key aspects of the serve, such as ball toss, point of contact, and follow-through, and scoring each aspect out of 5. FIT's 3 stages of learning are a crucial consideration when learning a new skill. Weeks 1 and 2 of the program target the cognitive stage, and this will help the learner understand key elements of the skill via observation of others and feedback provided by others, as well as the learner's own feelings. A high level of errors will be present in this stage. Weeks 3, 4 and 5 target the associative stage and assist the learner to understand how various components of the skill are interrelated, along with being able to adapt the movement to situational demands. By week 6, it is expected that the learner will still be in the associative stage, but it is hoped that they are progressing towards the autonomous stage, where the movement becomes relatively automatic. For this program, learning is measured via a retention and transfer test. At the beginning of the program, a pre-test of quantitative and qualitative measures will be conducted, with the same test administered at the end of the program as a post-test. Following the post-test, a retention test is performed after a period of 24 to 48 hours when no practice or coaching is undertaken. At the completion of the program, a transfer test will be administered to assess the adaptability of the skill and involves the alteration of some regulatory conditions along with some match play. When teaching a new skill, a learner may be aided via fostering positive skill transfer. This is done by taking into account the learner's past experiences and how they may be relatable to the skill being performed. In this case, any experience with racket sports or any sports requiring hand-eye coordination. Instructions and verbal cues should be short and concise. These verbal cues focus on the key elements of the skill which the coach wants to reinforce to the learner. These are a few examples of verbal cues useful when teaching the tennis serve.
Observational learning is most effective in the early stages of the learning process. It is crucial that demonstrations precede practice and they can be delivered as frequently as necessary. The demonstration must be performed correctly and distractions in the practice environment should be minimised for best results. Verbal instructions follow the performance of the skill to prevent an overload of information and allow the learner to find a natural, comfortable technique. An implicit style of learning is preferred over explicit learning as it provides a deeper level of information. It can be difficult to verbalise how some movements are performed, and information learned implicitly is retained for longer. Augmented feedback is used when the learner is unable to gain or interpret task-intrinsic feedback. This is often early in the learning process. Verbal feedback was provided to the learner following the performance of the skill. This is a form of augmented feedback known as terminal feedback. Knowledge of performance was given to the learner in an attempt to improve certain aspects of their movement pattern. This aimed to further learning as opposed to focusing on knowledge of results. A phased schedule was implemented to prevent the guidance hypothesis via reducing feedback progressively to avoid dependence and encourage a deeper level of self-learning. The 6-week program consisted of 3 30-minute sessions per week. Practice sessions were predominantly massed, as this has been found to produce greater learning for discrete skills. Although session duration wasn't overly long, the sessions were fairly continuous with little rest. Throughout the program, practice was predominantly blocked due to the closed nature of the skill. As the learner became more proficient, practice was progressed via varying regulatory and non-regulatory conditions to increase the difficulty. For the beginning of the program, progressive part practice was utilised in an attempt to learn different aspects of the skill. These were then combined sequentially, like in this example. This was progressed to whole practice as part practice was mastered. A tennis serve is high in complexity and requires moderate organisation, therefore both part practice and varying regulatory and non-regulatory conditions were seen as appropriate methods of practice. A variety of practice tools were used to vary conditions such as the net height, service box size, and target practice locations. Both extrinsic and intrinsic motivation was utilised from the coach and from within the learner respectively. Motivation levels were enhanced via goals which were set each week designed to aid the learner in achieving their desired goal for the program. Fun and interactive games were also used as part of the program to keep enjoyment and motivation high. Another easily administered mechanism of improving motivation levels was encouragement and positive reinforcement, which can greatly affect self-talk and intrinsic motivation.